Welcome to Lesson 9 in Unit 25, Science in St. Louis. In this lesson, students will answer the question, how might we improve or create a new exhibit to help people figure out the science behind St. Louis attractions? In this lesson, students will use the engineering design process to talk about criteria and constraints that museum designers and engineers have to use when trying to solve the problem of creating a new exhibit. In the Engage portion of this lesson, you'll have students go to the St. Louis Science Center website. While they're exploring the website, ask students, what connections do you see between the science topics we've talked about and explored in this unit and the exhibits that the Science Center has? Students can either work individually, with a partner, or in groups as they explore the Science Center's website. In the Explore portion of this lesson, you'll talk students through the engineering design cycle. You'll start off with the problem, asking students, what problem are we trying to solve? Well, in this case, we're trying to build an exhibit that will teach the science behind St. Louis attractions. You'll then talk students through the different criteria and constraints that are needed to make a successful exhibit. Students will work through their exhibit design notes found in their student journals. They'll do this in either groups or partners. This is an important step of this lesson. Students must decide on the St. Louis attraction they're going to focus on for building an exhibit. This part of the lesson is the research and brainstorming part of the engineering design cycle, so give students time to conduct research about their particular attraction. In the Explain portion of this lesson, students will obtain information about what it takes to create an exhibit at a science museum. They'll go to 3 different web pages from the Science Museum of Minnesota to make career connections. This will give students a better background as they move forward in planning their exhibit. In the Elaborate portion of this lesson, students will start thinking about creating a prototype of their exhibit. This prototype can either be a description on paper, it could be a drawing on paper, or it could be a 3-dimensional model of their exhibit. Choose whatever medium works best for your classroom and have students create a prototype of their exhibit. Be sure to have students reference their exhibit design notes in their student journals as they're constructing their prototypes. After students have created their prototype in the Elaborate portion of this lesson, they're going to communicate their design solution in the Evaluate portion. This is all part of the engineering design cycle. Students should use their prototype to create a pitch to describe to the class what their exhibit would be like. Allow each group to present their pitch to the class, and allow the students in the class to ask each group questions about their exhibit. This will provide students immediate feedback about their design solution. If time allows, allow students to go back and redesign their exhibit based on feedback from their peers. By the end of this lesson, students will have used the engineering design cycle to have discussed the criteria and constraints needed to create a successful exhibit that discusses the science behind St. Louis attractions. As a class, they will have generated multiple solutions and talked about the pros and cons of each solution, and they'll also have developed a model of their solution.